What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Summoner School events post-session finals for the Europe West server. I am going to be your host for the evening, BC Jumpman. We have come a long way. The 4-week session for the Learning 5 program has officially concluded, and we decided to end this first session with a post-session tournament, and the finals is going to be casted live on stream right now. I'm going to go ahead and introduce the teams that we're at, and then give you guys a little bit of an introduction, have some discussion with the coaches, and then go straight into the game. So it's going to be our Team 1 first game blue side today. It's going to be Team Urg0ds. They used to be, Urg0d was an inside job, but they decided to change their name to Team Urg0ds. That is going to be coached by Ozdoc. And for just the players' introductions themselves, we have for the top lane, Contextual Idiot. We've got for the jungle, Jones Life. For the mid lane, we've got Bacon Screen. And for the bot lane duo, we've got One Shot Macro and Skydark. How's it going, Oz?
Going pretty good. Managed to psych my guys up, even though there might be an individual lane skill disparity. I think we're pretty decent on the map plane. We should be able to, give it a run for their money.
It should be pretty great. So for the red side, we do have the lovely Coach's Spaghetti, coached by Mr. Doughy there. For the red side, we're going to have, for the top lane, we've got Illegal Shot. Their jungler is going to be Dasgrout, if I pronounce that correctly. For the mid lane, we've got Masterus. And for the bot lane duo on their side, we've got XLN Kenius, and cover is awesome. How's it going, Doughy?
It's going pretty well, I guess.
Well, good. How are you feeling today?
Feeling good. Very confident. Very confident. Which is nice. Because I was really scared yesterday.
It's going to be a good setup. So for those of you that are coming here for the first time and don't know what the Learning 5 program actually is, it is a program that we run through over at reddit.com/Summoner School, and we get players and coaches to sign up individually or with other members if they want, and they get placed on a team. The coaches actually choose their own teams, so it can be from all ranges of ELO, from platinum to silver to bronze to anything else that you want to do. So it's a really fantastic program because they bring all of these players together and they attack the ranked 5s ladder. They have coaching sessions, they have team sessions, they have one-on-one sessions, and they're really just trying to increase their team play, but at the same time they're making sure that they can also increase on an individual level. We're going to have the signups within the next couple weeks for the next summer session. It is going to be an 8-week session, double the length of the current session that we just ended ourselves. It's a fantastic program. We've got some Moobot commands in there if you want to check it out and find out when the next signups for the event is. But that being said, we're going to hop into some coach discussions right now. I'm going to talk to Doughy and I'm going to talk to Ozdoc about how they felt this session has gone and what they're feeling coming into this final series. So Doughy, I'm going to propose the first question to you is, what was your initial feeling coming into this session? I mean, this was the very first time that we've had the Learning 5s program. And, how did you feel after you had selected your team and you guys started getting rolling?
I felt pretty good after I'd selected the team, actually. Like, the main thing I was looking for in people was knowing the basics, really. So I just looked for people who are like Plat Plus or something. It's pretty easy to do. So I could work on more specific coaching. But I was also looking for people who would actually stay with the team, because that's a massive problem with rank 5s, is people just drop out and you have a team made and then a week later it's gone. And all these people that week before were saying they were really dedicated, they would stay with it for a couple months or whatever, and they just leave. So I was really looking for people who would actually stay for like the time that we were doing it, those 4 weeks. And I managed to find, good amount of people who could do that, actually. It's pretty good.
Well, good. Fantastic. What about you, Oz? I know that you were here for our show matches last week, but, I still have to ask you, coming into this team, what have you felt has been, the greatest stride that you guys have made throughout your time with them?
Well, I think the greatest thing that we've improved on as a team over the last, let's say, 2 weeks I've been working with them, the most important thing is the more advanced tactics. So when I came in, my team already knew objective focus and stuff. And while they need to work on like singular mechanics, we can work on those while also improving on kind of the macro play. So what we've been doing for the last 2 weeks is more advanced tactics. So I taught them lane swapping, lane control, pre-game planning, all that kind of stuff. And I'm really surprised at how fast they were at just like picking it up and running with it. So even though they might not have the best mechanics, they've learned so much about map play and all that kind of stuff to do with 5 specifically that I think they're a really good team, really well matched.
Yeah, I mean, that was the initial goal with this program, was to, bring 5 players together who had, for the most part, never seen each other before, try to find some kind of synchronization and, really go at this rank 5 ladder from a team perspective. But you're right, when you focus on all of these macro concepts as far as a team goes, you're innately going to figure out exactly, some things about your own individual play that you can get up. But, flipping it back over to you, Doey, that being said, how do you feel, or what do you feel, should I say, has been the biggest difficulty for your team, going through? As Oz said, one of the biggest things that they faced was their individual skill, and that kind of holding them back in some regards. What do you think has been the biggest downfall for your team?
For my team, the biggest downfall is definitely lack of communication. And people just don't want to speak. And I don't know why. Because I'm a really vocal person. I speak a lot. Whenever I've played with the team, if someone's been not here or anything, I just play. I fill in. Then I always speak a lot. And whenever I hear them, as I'm watching them play the game, they never talk. So encouraging them to speak has been the hardest thing to do. It's so difficult.
Yeah, and especially on a situation like this, when again we're on the ranked 5s ladder, you need to have that communication and make sure where everything's at. So, final question. It's gonna be the same question to both coaches, so we can get right into this game. I know our casters are excited. I know the rest of the Twitch chat is excited. So, Doey, I'll let you go first. You won the coin toss. You're gonna be red side here. What do you feel, strongest about with your team coming in this? This is your chance to, just lay it all out of the line. What do you feel your team has that can just really dominate this series right here?
Hopefully, I've taught them to think the right way, which is the main thing I've been focusing on, is forward thinking within games to know what you're going to do next. But definitely preparation as well. I think we are really well prepared for this.
Preparation is key, especially when you're in a long series, a long series like this. All right, Oz, what about you? What do you have to say? What do you think you guys are going to bring into this? You guys did 2-0 your opposing team in the show matches, so you guys are on kind of a stream high right now. So what do you feel? What do you feel you guys have right now?
Well, I think we'll show the same things that we did in the show match previous. We spent the last couple of weeks. Well, the week since the show match, we expanded our champion pools a little bit more. But really, we're going to try and play the same game. We're going to try and control everything in the map, everything in the game, and let the enemy have nothing. So even if they come out of laning and they're really strong, we're already going to have 3 dragons by that point, so we don't care.
As we all know, the dragon control in Team Urg0ds is definitely something that's good. I remember talking to Doey before the game, and he said that, it really doesn't matter what they do as long as they make sure that they get at least 1 dragon away from them, throw them off their groove, and there's something that can happen. But that's going to be it for this pregame discussion. Thank you, coaches. I'm going to let you guys go ahead and go back to your own rooms now. So I'm going to flip it over to Pisket or Josh and Dude Bogey. They are going to be our casters for the night. Thank you guys so much for coming up, showing up. Go ahead and show your hype in the Twitch chat. Get ready, get going, because the finals for the post-session tournament for the Learning 5s program is about to start. Urg0ds was an inside job. Team Urg0ds versus Coaches Spaghetti. Let's get this going. Pisket or Josh, this is all you, buddy.
Thank you so much, BC Jumpman. Lots of strong words coming out from both teams, especially from Ozdoc. Great job hosting the pregame discussion. We're going to see lots more of Jump later. Like he said, I'm going to be your play-by-play caster, Piscator Josh. Today I have with me Dune Bogey, the man. How is it going, brother?
I am very tired.
He means very excited, because I'm definitely excited to see whether or not Team Urg0ds is going to be knocked off that undefeated stream record. We're just going to have picks and bans starting in just a few seconds. So, what do you think about these two teams going into it? Like beforehand, we heard a lot of confidence coming from these two teams. But as we know, in League of Legends, anything can happen.
So yeah, I'm the biggest thing that I'm curious about is not so much like gonna be, you know, what they're gonna pull out, but just how the dynamic will fit between these two teams. Obviously, they're teams that have worked together a lot, but we have a huge rank discrepancy where you have like a diamond player and a few platinum players on a red team, whereas Team Urg0ds is just going to be filled with silvers and golds. And I'm really curious to see if this is going to be a traditional kind of stomp where the plats and diamonds will just win very easily, or if it's going to be something where they can kind of come. It shows how strong the team play is compared to individual play.
Yeah, definitely, because I think a lot of people often forget the fact that team-based League of Legends and solo queue are two completely different beasts. Some players might be really, really good at solo queue, might be good at carrying their own games, their own lanes, really good at their own micro play, but when it comes to larger map-based global macro play, maybe the silvers and the golds will be like really, really good at it. They have had they are riding the momentum from having the initial wins from our inaugural European stream, but definitely one of those things where it's like you're generally gonna give it to the higher ranked players, but anything can happen, and I'm excited to see.
I'm definitely interested. Couple of things that I start to look for here as we get into picks and bans. We did see Urg0ds play a couple of games last week. Things that they tried to go for, they went for this really brawly team fight sort of comp, whereas the other team was kind of going for I think like a juggernaut sort of comp the first game, and then a bit like more long range, a little bit more pokier style before. I wonder if they're going to still go with like picks like Nautilus. Well, now we see it banned out, but really strong CC picks combined with a lot of tankiness that make them very, very good in fights, or if they have something new for us. I imagine that that's kind of what they've been practicing, and that's probably where Red Team's bans are going to lie, especially with the Nautilus ban, as you see there. And then on the same side, we haven't yet seen the red side here, and so we're going to see what they're going to have to bring out for us tonight.
The Fizz ban coming out as well, maybe a little afraid of the mid laner getting rolling on an assassin, but two of the arguably top-tier junglers, Sejuani and Gragas, both being banned out, so a lot of that tank pressure in the jungle has been taken off the table. We'll see how both teams respond with Team Ozdog, Team Urg0ds having the first pick.
Yeah, I think they prioritized. I think they wanted to go Ahri, and I think they've also prioritized the Nautilus previously. But yeah, overall really strong like team fight bans for Urg0ds was Purple Team. Yeah, really kind of tanky comps and a lot of the CC going. So I imagine that Coach's Spaghetti, our red team here, is going to be playing kind of more of a standard comp, where something that you might see in like LCS just because of the bans that kind of fit it. And it is a Maokai first ban.
Yeah, so nothing too surprising. Maokai generally going to go in the top lane, having that great front line, but the Xerath being immediately locked in. Blind pick Xerath, too brave for me, with the Lulu being hovered as well.
Yeah, that's definitely true. So very, very unique picks here. Very strong picks coming out. They know what they want. They know what they're going to prioritize here, and I like what they both are going with. Xerath, kind of a riskier pick in the mid lane. He can get shut down very easily, but on the plus side for him, he has very strong base damage, and so he isn't as item reliant as you might see on another mid laner. That being said, it does leave room for someone like a LeBlanc, for something like even Echo now, if the teams have practiced him, some kind of assassin to jump on the Xerath and give him a hard time. He does tend to struggle in that sense. And then the Lulu, it could be either support or top lane. Support Lulu was recently buffed, so she isn't as bad as she was before, but I'd still say the AP top Lulu is definitely where you'd probably be looking for that pickup. Going against the Maokai also can be beneficial. Lulu pretty much won't die in that lane. She can be very safe, and she can get a lot of harass off. That forces Maokai to be relatively chunked, and so he can't quite look for the TP plays, sort of like TPing to a bot lane or something like that.
Oh, and it looks like we're going to play a little bit of vein spotting in the Twitch chat tonight. Although, Excellent Quiz, however you say, Excellence, I'm just going to call him Excellence. His favorite champion, his favorite ADC, he did report it as Vayne. So we're probably not going to see a bunch of double lift style flash forward and tumbles coming out of this Vayne. But still, if y'all want to do a little vein spotting in the chat, that'd be awesome. But Ash, with the new rework, getting locked in on the blue side.
Yeah, again, these blue team seem to be kind of band out here. Urg0ds not having the Nautilus and Gragas available, but still managed to get a very strong team fighting composition. There's a lot of early game power between the Alistar and Rek'Sai. They bring a lot of really good CC, and they also have extremely good late game between the Victor, the Ashe, and the Maokai. Ashe has kind of grown into a very strong pick these days. She can initiate fights very well. She stays alive pretty well. She can be shut down a little bit hard in lane, but I think that's why they have the Alistar in there to give a little bit of protection. Meanwhile, on Coach's Spaghetti, the red team here, they're going with a bit of a Juggernaut comp. They have the Lulu and the Janna trying to protect the Vayne here. It's also a jungle main as the Wukong, a Wukong main as the jungler here is Doey. And so we'll see what he can bring out. We saw a couple of Wukongs, I think, last week, at least one or two in the NA games. But we'll see what a jungle Wukong can do. I like Purple Team's dive between the Wukong, but they don't really have too much of a tank line. Wukong is kind of in a similar position to someone like Nocturne, where you kind of have to balance between building tank and building kind of offensive, and it's tough to strike that balance to where your team needs. I think he probably will have to lean more on the tankier side here, though, unless he gets rolling earlier in the game.
And we have a teleport Xerath in the mid lane instead of somebody taking top. Okay, now they're swapping back and forth. I'm getting really confused. Xerath in the top lane, it looks like.
We'll definitely see. I think they were lined up in LCS pick order, so it should they should be having Xerath go. I'm not sure if they did it properly, but I imagine Lulu having teleport means that she'll probably be in the top lane. I can't really see the Xerath having a good time against this Maokai. He'll never be able to do enough damage to him, harass him out of lane. But he might have some trouble against Victor, so I could see why they might want to switch it.
And Bacon Screen is somebody that's shown a lot of comfort and a lot of power on this Victor as well, especially when his team has that front line in order to peel for him, get him safe, keep him in a safe position. He's just been able to spam death rays and siphon powers from the back line. A lot of teams had, well, on the previous match that we saw, they were having a lot of trouble getting to that Victor on the back line. When you leave him alone for a couple of spell rotations, your team is pretty much going to be melted. But with that said, we're just getting into our pre-game delay to make sure, none of these teams are ghosting each other. So we're just going to kick it to some music for just about 2 minutes. Guys, stick around in the Twitch chat. Let us know what you think about these team comps, what you think is going to happen, who you think is going to win the first game in this best-of-3 series for the European Finals. Thank you, guys. Guys, we are live and on the Rift for our Game 1 in the best of 3 finals for the Learning 5's European Tournament Finals. I said finals so many times. Finals. Introducing your teams to start things off. On the blue side, we have Team Urg0ds in the top lane. We have Contextual Idiot on Maokai. Jones Life in the jungle on Rek'Sai. Bacon Screen rolling out the Victor in the mid lane. One Shot Macro on Ashe. And Skydark on the Alistar.
And going against them, it's going to be Team Coach's Spaghetti, taking the role of Xerath in this game. A legal shot, going to be rocking that nice new skin. Doey123, the coach for the team, I believe, is actually going to be subbing in here for his jungler. He's going to be playing that role of Wukong. He mains that champion. Master is going to be playing your Lulu. I don't even want to try it. Iniquiz, something like that, is going to be playing your Vayne. And finally, Cover is awesome on the Janna, looking awesome.
And we've had a lot of questions in this Twitch chat regarding the lack of a real tank line on the team of Coach's Spaghetti.
Yeah, so let's talk about that for a second. So obviously, when you look at a standard team, you want a tank, you want some damage dealers, and you want some peel in like a support. But when you take a look at Coach's Spaghetti here, there's no clear tank. Yes, Wukong can build tanky, but he does also need to build a bunch of damage. But the thing is, they shouldn't need a tank if fights are going the way they should. Essentially, between the peel of Lulu and Janna, as well as the poke of Xerath, the ideal fight for Coach's Spaghetti is to chunk down enemy members of Urg0ds before the fight even starts, and then once they get that rolling, the Vayne can just shred through any tanks. And so as long as they keep peeling, keep the Urg0ds members off of their team, they can end up doing a lot of damage in these fights and potentially win the game.
Something like that really requiring a lot of communication from all of your different teammates. And Doey did say in the pregame discussion that that's something that while they have been a little weak, they have been working on during their practices. So definitely going to come out in this poke kind of kite comp that we see coming out of Coach's Spaghetti. Nothing too crazy, no crazy level 1 invades happening thus far.
Well, the important thing here is that actually it's going to be Coach's Spaghetti who's their bot lane ended up taking the Gromp there just by themselves. And so they're going to have a bit of an experience advantage, but not if they're dying level 1.
Yeah, that was really scary. Level 1 Janna going down just to about 150 HP. That's slow from... Actually, Ashe is still level 1 too. Not going to have that Frost Shot or that Ranger's focus just yet, but... Vayne, not the great laner, but Skydark gonna flash in. Are they gonna get a first blood this early on? That's a flash force to be burned already. That Vayne getting put to the test.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the plays that you need to make if you're Alistar, but I feel like you could have waited for the level 2. You were only a couple creeps off of it, like right there, and if you had waited for it, potential headbutt plus that pulverize would have been just that much more, and you probably could have gotten a kill off of it. Also, early evades coming from the Wukong.
Yeah, Doey looking for a free blue for himself. Looks like he's just going to skitter across, just waiting for that blue buff to get down just a little bit lower. It does go down. Doey forcing the flash out of Jones and taking the blue buff for himself. That's going to set Rek'Sai behind just a little bit, but looks like Lulu coming in for the assist, picks up the first blood, saying, hey, you try to steal our jungle? No, we're going to steal your jungle, and we're going to take a life from you.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good communication between Doey, the jungler there, as well as Masterus. The usual mid laner going to be playing the role atop here. Masterus grabs himself a red buff, which will be very nice in his harass of the Maokai. And then, yeah, Wukong just knowing that he can out-brawl a Rek'Sai in the jungle. Wukong a bit safer as far as what he's been doing in the jungle path. He has invisibility for escapes, and he knows what Rek'Sai is going to be taking level 1 and level 2, and that's not that threatening in fights. Rek'Sai not a great early duelist until you hit, like, around that level 3 mark, I would say.
Yeah, that knockup and that bite are so crucial, because otherwise what are you going to do? Just run around underground, just shoot off little void spikes here and there. Not really going to happen.
So yeah, this early invade from Wukong going to be paying off. He's already picked up his Ranger's Trailblazer as well as a Vision Ward. Rek'Sai going to be set even farther behind, and it's going to be tough because the lane advantage is looking to fall in Xerath and Lulu, especially getting that red buff on Lulu. And so it's up to this Rek'Sai to try to make some victories in these lanes. We already saw a lot of summoners burn bottom. I'd say that they're probably okay bottom, and this Rek'Sai starts needing to help out his mid laners. We see that Bacon Screen is getting dominated in CS. He only has 11 at this point to the 24 of the Xerath.
Yeah, he was just getting poked under cover constantly. Skydark going in every time his headbutt is off cooldown, burning through that mana relatively quickly. And Vayne completely forced off the minion wave though.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can go in like that, it's totally worth it. If you notice that Vayne and Janna are both out of regen, so any damage that you do to them will be relatively sticky in that they won't be able to regen it super easily. You also know their heal's down, and so if you can get just that one little amount of burst, it can be extremely, extremely worth it.
Ash, a very, very oppressive champion in lane. They are tuning her just a little bit to have her W do a little less damage early on, given the fact that she can just stand off to the side, spam her volley over and over again, especially when somebody like Vayne. But Skydark not seeing Doe come in. That's a Vayne. That's an Ash getting locked out of control by Doe. Covered is going to flash in and get the Howling Gale off. This Ash doing a great job at kiting, but I don't think they're going to be able to make it away. That was a great condemn. Doe picks up another kill. Both kills on Team Spaghetti going to the Monkey so far.
Yeah, something really, really important there. If you are in the blue team bot lane, if you're Urg0ds and you're pushing up like this, you're playing very aggressive, you need to be wary of these ganks. You know the Wukong is getting rolling, and he's going to be looking to help his team out, and so vision is very, very critical, and that's what allowed Wukong to pull off that gank.
So while Wukong was bottom, Jones is looking for a mid lane. They're very, very immobile. Doesn't have the flash knockup available, so he's just going to get stunned out by the Xerath. Bacon String going low yet again.
Yeah, that's extremely critical. Oh my goodness, he's going to die. He just turned back and forth and didn't really know what to do. He still had his flash available, but deciding not to use it there.
Not very often you see every single one of the right of the arcane hit, but it looks like Jones live. Doe looking for even more blood. 3 kills to 0 on the side of Spaghetti, but Jones saving that burrow for the last and gonna tunnel his way out of there.
Alright, I want you to notice how OP that is. You can put your Wukong clone onto a Rek'Sai tunnel and it still destroys the tunnel. It doesn't like despawn in time. It'll get you the gold for it.
I did not know that.
That's baller.
Doe being the Wukong, maybe he did know that though.
Yeah.
One of those
it's
really
also
specific interactions that you kind of have to find on accidents, I feel like.
It was mostly to de-aggro the dragon, but like it's a cool unintended consequence if he knew it.
Legal shot burning through the rest of his resources to get the wave pushed in. Looks like he's gonna back. 24 CS difference in the mid lane at 7 minutes is pretty substantial.
You notice Skydark actually had his flashback up there and decided not to use it. They knew Janna had gone back and Vayne was alone in that lane. That would have been a perfect time to initiate onto the Vayne because she was alone. She wasn't able to get any protection from her Janna, and Alistar having flash exhaust up could have been a very easy kill for the spot lane, but opting not to take it here.
Not that they would do that considering how aggressive they were playing their levels 1 through 3. Then again, when Doe is showing up everywhere, getting so many kills ahead, and the fact that they picked up a little extra gold from those early skirmishes, maybe discouraging them just a little bit. Skydark taking a lot of bugs for free.
Yeah, I mean, this is the point where Vayne can start to sustain in lane. She's got her Vamp Scepter. Janna Shield's going to give her a lot of damage, and yeah, she can actually be a really strong laner. And Alistar is relatively short range, so he has his work cut out for him. He needs to be in short range. Like, Vayne can predict what this Alistar needs to do in these fights.
Having to come down as well. Oh, that's a lot of damage. Those extended trades going in the favor of Vayne sometimes, but it looks like Vayne trying to get out of there, but the Ranger's focus way too strong to get away from early on, especially when Vayne's not quite in that range to skirmish. Ash having a bit more reach than the Vampire Hunter early on. So the first kill going to Urg0ds.
Yeah, Vayne not actually using her heal there, knowing she's pretty much dead. Ulted at a relatively inconvenient time. She had already tumbled at that point, and so wasn't able to take advantage of the invisibility. Looks like they're fighting mid, though.
Yeah, all in mid lane, but it looks like Bacon Screen runs out of mana just as they're trying to go at it. Right at the arcane, forced to flash out of it, but Doe showing up with the double buffs. Doesn't look like he's going to chase into the jungle, though. You can let it go.
Yeah, that was Doe, who having actually already stolen that blue buff. Rek'Sai was in the bot side jungle, looking to help on that bot lane fight, but not needing her help, was the bot lane duo there of one-shot Macro and Skydark. So Wukong took that time, he had the blue buff timer, and he went and stole it. Really good job, really good awareness from Doe there. Not able to get the kill in mid lane, but anytime you help shut this Victor down even more, and you kind of let your Xerath have over twice his farm, you're doing okay.
Victor, one of those mid-range mages, going to have a lot of trouble trying to get past all the Arcana pulses and the Eyes of Destruction coming out of a legal shot. Yeah, all the other lanes, so top lane seems about as even as he could possibly get. Bot lane, bit of a discrepancy there, but it's, yeah, like you said, that mid lane, that's really, really showing the difference. Both supports starting to slap each other just a little bit, though.
Yeah. One other thing I think is worth pointing out at this point is how much vision advantage that Coach's Spaghetti has been able to obtain to this point. Their entire bot side of the jungle as well as the river is completely spotted out now. So there's not really going to be many opportunities for Rek'Sai to get any ganks here on the bot lane. As she says, as I say that, Jones Life is looking for the gank here, but I believe Coach's Spaghetti know about it.
It's tricky, too, when you're somebody like Rek'Sai trying to come in for the tunnel unburrow. But you have somebody like Kajana and a Vayne who can just tumble away, condemn you, Montu, and Howling Gale. Just throw literally everything at you. So that timing has to be just absolutely spot on.
And then the only other thing I think is worth pointing out is, yeah, how much this Rek'Sai has been shut down in this game. She's been forced to go Cinder Hulk before any boots, so she's not going to be able to do that much ganking early game just because she's not going to be moving at the speed that she needs to. Also, not using her ultimate here and not having a vast network of tunnels, only having them kind of in her own jungle, is going to hurt her at this point. But you do have other bright spots if you are Urg0ds at this point. Your top lane is pretty much even, and the Maokai is going to be very, very helpful in the late game, especially when he can try to shut down and lock down this Vayne, as well as the bot lane. We saw that they got the kill on the Vayne there once, and are looking to probably do it again as Doey is lurking in and baiting at the best of his abilities.
Yeah, Doey probably saying, get that lane pushed out just a little bit.
Oh, wow.
But it looks like he's going to go in with the clone and the Cyclone. But Macro getting exhausted. Can he get out of this? He's taking a lot of damage. The third proc of their Silver Bolt not quite finishing him off, but the Monkey comes in to finish that off. Skydark gets out of there alive, but they do pick up another kill in the bot lane.
Yeah, meanwhile, action happening all over the map. You see, Jones Life had come in for a gank there on Masterist on Lulu, but Lulu able to escape due to the extra movement speed from Whimsy. Meanwhile, you see Victor sticking around in lane. So what happened there is he got chunked down extremely, extremely low. Xerath only hit 1 out of 3 ultimates. Xerath tried to flash under tower and get a Q, but it just missed. And it allowed Xerath to tank a couple tower shots there, get a little bit dangerous as far as his health goes, which gave Victor the confidence to stay in lane a little bit longer, but neither of them ending up with any sort of kill.
Giving somebody their main champion, especially in a situation where you'd argue that certain players are better than the other matchup, really, really scary. We see Doey knowing exactly when to push those advantages, those little power windows that he has. He knows exactly how much damage he can deal out, and more importantly, how much damage he can take. So even showing up in that game with not full health, he knew exactly that's all he needed to do to put out that damage.
Yeah, I mean, he knows the kind of lane that Ashe and Alistar are going to try to put out. Very strong, high-damage lanes. And against a Vayne, they just want to prey on that Vayne. And so anything you can do, he was sitting there for good on 15, 20 seconds before he was needed. But he knew that he would be needed at some point. And yeah, allowing to turn that into a kill on the Ashe is extremely important. They are going to be going for a dragon here, though.
They are trying to get it down, but it's not going out quick enough. They're trying to decide whether to turn or not. Red team actually comes in and seals it. Spaghetti picking up the first dragon of the game while the TP's coming in. Alistar going really, really low while one-shot Macro doing what he can. Contextual Idiot trying to dive onto the front lane. One-shot Macro still having a free license to do damage. Enchanted Crystal Arrow onto Lulu, but it looks like Doey trying to get on out of there, but it looks like Team Spaghetti picks up 3 total in that exchange, but Bacon Screen probably going to get knocked out here as well as Vayne picks up yet another, extending their lead in kills to 8-1.
Not only able to pick up 4 kills there, but also the dragon. I'd say the biggest reason why they're able to do that is target focus. They pick targets and they focus them down. There was a lot of split targeting. If you looked at from Team Urg0ds, the Lulu got taken very low, the Wukong got taken very low, and it ended up costing them. They couldn't actually get any kills, and they all ended up paying for that, except for the Maokai. It was a good TP coming in from Contextual Idiot, but it wasn't enough. They weren't able to lock any single target down, and when you are failed to do that against a Vayne composition, and the Vayne is allowed to just roam free, she's going to be picking up a lot of kills in these fights.
And this is why you don't necessarily need a tank line, right?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Lulu kind of creates a tank artificially, and then also you have Wukong going at Cinder Hulk, so he is a little bit tankier than you would normally expect. I definitely think that yeah, when you don't target focus, you don't necessarily need tanks as much.
And it's really, really scary, this Xerath having so much gold on him. Taking a look at the gold discrepancy between the 2 mid laners at about 1900 already at 14 minutes into the game, with Doey Picking up so much kill participation. 6 out of 8 so far. This monkey's all over the map. Monkey all over the map. Shows up to the top lane to chop down a tree. Contextual idiot. Does have the vengeful maelstrom on, but it doesn't look like he's going to get out of this alive. Tries to get a little damage out in return, but it looks like Dowie goes on a killing spree, picking up 3.
Yeah, I mean, he's just kind of grown out of control. He's 3-0-4. He has yet to die in this game, and he's been dominating Jones Life's jungle. He's made Jones Life's life a living hell. 36 farm on a Rek'Sai at 15 minutes is about as bad as it gets.
And look at Dowie all over the enemy jungle as well, as if Rek'Sai didn't have enough farm or wasn't starved enough. Dowie's just going to take everything that he can possibly get. And coming in from the backside, but Alistar does show up in time. Bacon Scream. That damage comes down so fast. Alistar doing his best, but he goes down to the right of the Arcane. Dowie in the middle of them. Enchanted Crystal Arrow does manage to stun the Xerath. Looks like Janna trying to come in, secure the kill onto the Rek'Sai. Oh, Howling Gale barely misses, but the Arcano Pulse does land. Janna on the front line. How often do you see that, folks? Looks like illegal shot. Gonna come in. One rotation. Do it. The Skydart barely gonna make it. Oh, Arcano Pulse finds its target. They pick up even more.
Again, this is a situation where Rek'Sai is just sitting there with a Cinderhulk, Rangers, Trailblazers, as well as a Sightstone. She is not going to put out hardly any damage, as well as an Alistar. He gets a couple, spells off. He does a little bit of damage. He can hit a little bit harder with that ultimate, but it's really on the Victor to put out that damage, and that's, again, why Dowie on Wukong not dying there once again. The damage from Urg0ds is not there right now. They need the Ashe. They need the Victor rolling as much as possible, and they're not getting fights where they're able to capitalize on that.
So how much you want to bet they're not going to let Dowie have Wukong game 2? Because I'd be willing to bet a lot.
Yeah. You got his main champion. We are allowing, kind of these target bans in these games. So if you can do the research and figure out what champions you need to ban against certain teams, it's definitely worth it. It's hard to tell just because Dowie hasn't been playing with the team. He is a substitute in this case, and so we will keep that in mind. But definitely game 2, you really need to start thinking about banning that out, or at least trying to adapt to the playstyle, and maybe pick a stronger jungler at level 2. Be prepared for that invade.
Yeah, not having virtually any damage on that Rek'Sai really proving to be a difficult point in that gank there. While they did lock down that Lulu for an extended period of time, you're not really looking for the Maokai to deal out a ton of burst damage up front. That Rek'Sai having pretty much, no damage items whatsoever, enabling Masterus to get out of there safely.
Yeah, and Illegal Shot's just kind of owning this mid lane here. Victor can't even come in and contest, and it's really on one-shot macro at this point. I think she is kind of the only hope for her team on the Ashe there, in that Ashe is going to be the only one doing consistent damage in these fights. Victor is very skill-shot reliant and can get blown up very easily, as we've seen. Alistar and Rek'Sai not going to be doing enough damage here, and Maokai opting for the early Righteous Glory. A lot of times you see teams just leave it at a Catalyst, is going to end up hurting him here.
Oh, it looks like Dowie manages to catch a couple now out of position. Everybody's coming in, and Bacon Screen on the back line. Looks like Dowie trying to get to them, but it's like all the TP's coming in. One-shot macro completely zoned away from the fight. Nothing that the ADC can do, so it's only up to Bacon Screen to do the damage. Well, excellent Queeze gets the wild growth, so not a whole lot of damage being taken by that Vayne. That's 2 going down at the hands of Illegal Shot. Skydart trying to peel, but ends up putting himself on the menu. Can't milk those, but looks like they made a milkshake out of the Alistar. 15-1 lead in the first 18 minutes.
Yeah, you got a 10,000 gold lead now opening up for Coach's Spaghetti. A big reason here, a lot better focusing coming out from Urg0ds. They really tried to get that Wukong down as much as possible. Ashe did have to burn her ultimate on the Lulu just because Ashe didn't really have that much peel. There was so much focused on the Wukong that fight. Not quite able to pick him up though, just barely. But the problem is when you have to focus someone like the Wukong, that means you're not focusing Vayne, you're not focusing Xerath, and they're going to be the ones who are doing the most damage in these fights. And by not focusing them, letting Lulu ult the Vayne as opposed to having the ult the Wukong, they're going to just wreck through your team. Victor, not nearly tanky enough. He's only level 10, whereas Xerath is level 12, Lulu's level 13. He's so far behind in experience, and Ashe being at level 9 even hurts her that much more. She just can't put up with the damage coming out right now from Coach's Spaghetti.
How terrifying is having a wild growth Vayne in the middle of 4 people, and Vayne just doesn't care because he's like, yo, you want to mess with this? They could not touch her whatsoever. Like you said, one-shot macro completely out of that fight towards the beginning of it. Just completely zoned out, not able to do much. It looks like Second Dragon is on the menu for Team Spaghetti, and there really isn't a whole lot that Urg0ds can do. Maybe getting a pick onto the support might help, but it looks like backup does come in time. Uh-oh, Skydark saying, oh, I have a bad feeling about this. Zoe diving onto the backline immediately. Illegal shot goes legendary. This team putting that goal to use, absolutely shredding through anybody that gets in their path. This Victor saying, the glorious revolution is going to take me all the way back to the illegal shot. Still looking for it. MLG quickscope, too strong.
Yes, the glorious revolution was not today, comrade. It turns out that when Maokai doesn't have teleport and he shows in the top lane, and Coaches Spaghetti know this, they really shouldn't be looking for fights, and they should know that Janna's never really going to go anywhere by herself. She's always going to be accompanied by them, and probably with the with the Wukong in tow as well, and that's just what happened. They went for the Janna, tried to get as much damage as possible, but yeah, they're just lacking it at this point. Victor has no items, he doesn't even have any farm. He doesn't even have 100 farm in 20 minutes, and it's really, really hurting them.
Skydar trying to save the tower. Tower does go down, but they're trying to lock down whatever they can to get something out of it with Zoe.
Yeah, I mean, once the tower dies, that invisibility is no longer going to get blocked. Holy crap, illegal shot does a lot of damage with that Lucas proc.
Like, he's just walking up to them. How often do you see a Zero do that? Might get headbutted away, though, but Skylar doesn't manage to get it off in time. Janna kiting, Zero kiting. The two people you don't typically suspect at the front of the line just completely zoning away. Oh my god!
Oh, wow.
Purple Kool-Aid too strong.
I would definitely say legal shot on Xerath here is getting a little bit too aggressive. He does need the support of his team, but he's allowed to at this point. He's 9-0-5. He does way too much damage. The only people that could end up actually hurting him are Ashe and Victor. And when you have Ashe completely zoned out because she's just so chunked by the time you're going for it, you don't really have a threat of dying. Yeah, you might get CC'd, but there's not really enough damage on the enemy team to really pose a threat to you at this point.
I feel like tricky situation doesn't really do Urg0ds' position justice in this situation. At this point, you're pretty much a taking back
I mean, they're all British, so I would claim that they are in a bit of a sticky wicket, as they say.
Is that what they say?
Not really, but
Chat gonna go crazy, but Zoe, bit of a sticky wicket we're in. Jones getting knocked up by the Cyclone, but it looks like Zoe looking for blood on the opposing glorious evolution. Bacon's doing what he can. Managed to actually get out there alive, but it looks like Masterus looking for some more blood. Oh, what? Look at that. That one Arcano book. I don't think one. No, yeah, definitely. That's not going to be a fight that Ashe is going to win ever. Illegal shot. Just racking it up. Champion farming, minion farming. Oh my gosh, this guy has gold for days. 10,000 gold on this Xerath alone.
Yeah, I mean, the only way that Urg0ds would be able to come back in this game is by trying to get picks, but the problem with running against a comp like this is they're never going to be alone. You always want the support there.
Yeah, they're trying to make use of that dive there, but like Jones like not having really the stats to back it up. Zoe just completely sitting up front there. He doesn't even care. He finally, he's still alive? This dude's still alive.
They've only gotten one kill in this entire game, and it was on that Vayne, and a really nice 2v2 in the bot lane. They're able to pick up the Vayne kill. But yeah, no damage coming out from them, and between the support of Janna, shield, and heal, not even having to burn Monsoon there, as well as the Lulu ult, there's no way that as long as they stay clumped, there's really no way anyone from Coach's Spaghetti should ever fear dying in this game.
That's a nice feeling to have. I'm never
it's very supportive.
Oh, man. This is a best-of-3 series, guys, so this could go all the way to Game 3. Then again, if Coach's Spaghetti, they don't get nervous, choking on a sweater all over. Oh, man, I totally missed it.
No, you're done. Good try. I like the attempt. I saw what you were trying to do.
Thank you,
but yeah, this is a point if you're Urg0ds. You start needing to look at Game 2. You start needing to figure out, okay, what went wrong in this game? How do we get this far behind? Is it outpicked? Is it just outplayed? What's going on in this game?
Oh my gosh, the bait was real. Zoe, knock up, Cyclone, Wild Growth. This guy's just spinning his way to victory. Jones getting absolutely demolished. They try to lock him down for just a little bit, but that... Oh, how did that enchanted crystal arrow miss everybody? Oh man, that's when you know things aren't going good for you.
Don't know. I don't even understand at this point. So yeah, don't even worry about these fights. You're pretty much going to lose. Yeah, that should have hit Wukong 100%. I don't know. But whatever it is, yeah, you start to look to the next game. I would say the one advantage that Urg0ds actually has here is their coach isn't actually playing in this game. A lot of times when you're playing in the game, it can be hard to notice a lot of your team's mistakes just because you're so focused on what you're doing. And so it's very, very easy for Ozdoc, the coach of Urg0ds here, to be able to try to adjust his team's strategy than it will be for Doey, because Doey was in this game. But if you're Ozdoc, you start needing to examine, what went wrong in this game. Are you just getting outplayed? Are you getting outpicked? And make those sorts of adjustments to try to win you back that game 2 and force a game 3.
And that's why I like the fact that the finals is the best of 3, and during the course of the program we do have multiple game series, given the fact that in team-based League of Legends, a big part of it is just adapting, identifying your mistakes. Because anybody can have an off game, anybody can get surprised by a team comp, but if you get surprised or have an off game 3 games in a row, then that generally says that you're doing something wrong and there's something that you could be improving on. But it looks like Coach Spaghetti gonna try and just shred through this base. One-shot macro, gonna get one shot. No macros involved there. Spidart really making a way to... Nope, just kidding. Spoke too soon. Gets Arcana pulled.
Hey man, they're in it for the fantasy points. There aren't fantasy points in this game, but they're in it for the fantasy points.
Fantasy points, not a whole lot found by the side of Team Urg0ds. Looks like Coach Spaghetti gonna march in to take everything. 29-1, a bit of a stomp in the first game, but I'm really excited to see whether Team Urg0ds can...
Is that really the BM?
Oh man.
That's pretty BM.
The GG's well played's coming out. I'm pretty sure this lobby has been broken. But yeah, this was the first game in the best of 3 series between Team Urg0ds and Team Coaches Spaghetti. The coaches are going to have a little bit of time to talk to their team, to talk to their teammates, try to make any adjustments in their play. So, guys, we're going to throw it to a brief. Let me just get some confirmation from both of our coaches to make sure that the game is actually over. It's pretty much over at this point, but hang on for just 1 second, guys.
Yeah, we're just gonna make sure, but yeah, overall really well played by Coaches Spaghetti throughout. They really showed up, and they knew what they had to do. The early invade from the Wukong, setting them up very nicely, and overall a really, really well played game. We'll see if they can keep it up in game 2.
Yeah, normally this is the point where both of the casters would kind of go into a little bit of a post-game analysis, but given the fact that the last 10 minutes of that game was essentially post-game analysis, we're just going to let the coaches take a little bit of time, talk to their teammates, talk to their teams, make adjustments for game 2 and possibly game 3. But for right now, guys, we're just going to get to a quick music breaks, hang out in the Twitch chat, let us know what you think, any feedback for the stream, for the broadcast, for the teams themselves. Type it all up in there. Enjoy the music while you wait, guys. We should be back in about 5 to 10 minutes.
is up, guys? Welcome back. We are getting ready to start Game 2 of the EU post-session finals right now. But before we start, we're getting the lobby finished up right now. I just want to go over, a couple of the things that we talked about in this first match, and just really give a good starting point for our casters right now. So I did watch this game with Ozdoc, and I was able to see from the coach's perspective a good view on exactly what he felt the game was going on. And one of the biggest things, which we all saw as Doey is filling in at that jungler spot, is going to be jungle pressure within itself. So we're going to have to make sure to check out and look and see exactly what we're going to do and what Team Urg0ds is going to do exactly to really combat a lot of the jungle pressure that Doey and his Wukong get out. Is that going to mean that we're going to see a Wukong ban? Not sure. Does that mean that we're going to see, maybe a little bit more pressure-oriented jungler that Jones Life can get on with, as opposed to the Rek'Sai, which, generally Rek'Sai does show a lot of pressure. However, we saw from that 0-8 start off that he had in game 1, it might have something that we do and might be something that we need to change. And flip it over to another spot, we got to talk about this mid disparity as well. We saw how great this mid lane Xerath was that Illegal Shot did. Illegal Shot is the top laner, might I add, for Coach's Spaghetti. Him and Masters decided to switch it up, decided to do a lane swap within themselves. And so are they going to do the same thing? Are they going to make sure to get that lane swap with themselves, or are they going to go to the roles that they generally play on this team? And if they decide to do the swap, does that mean that, a Xerath is going to get banned away, or, are they going to let him keep it and try to find another mid lane pick to take care of that? Not too sure, not too sure. There's a lot of different things that Team Urg0ds can do. And then finally, it's going to come down to the ward control. We saw that Rek'Sai over on the side of Team Urg0ds, Jones Life built that Sightstone early, but yet he didn't utilize it as well as what you might have wanted or what you might have wanted to see. And so, I really look to see what kind of ward control that Team Urg0ds pulls out this time, because from what we saw, Doey's Wukong was all over the place. He was all over the map. He invaded that blue buff early. That allowed for a flash kill on Masters on that Lulu, gave her the red buff, put Jones Life very far behind. So, what they decide to do is going to be very pivotal for, are they going to come back? Are they going to even the series at 1-1 and take it to a game 3? Or is Doey and Coach's Spaghetti going to carry themselves to a 2-0 sweep for the EU finals? That is going to be the question that we have to ask ourselves. But I'm going to flip it over to the casters now. Pisketer, Josh, and Dune Bogey going to take it over for game 2. Going to let them do their thing. Going to see what these teams are going to end up with. And hopefully we can have a good game and possibly get a game 3 out of this. Take it away, Josh.
Thanks a lot, BC Jumpman. Thanks for that pre-game setup for our Game 2. This is a best-of-3 series. Game 1 being taken by Team Coach's Spaghetti. The teams have switched sides, with Doey's team, Coach's Spaghetti, taking the blue side for Game 2. So this is match point for the EU West Finals. We're going to throw it to Pick Ban right away. Like he said, I am Piscator Josh. I have with me again Dune Buggy. We're excited to see Game 2.
Yeah, I'm really curious as to, A, what the adjustments for their teams will be, as far as what the play will be, and then also to see if we have any kind of different compositions, if we have different bans, if they prioritize like bans as far as like you want to deny champions and are okay with strategies, or if you want to deny strategies or are okay with certain champions. The big example of this is you saw Doey's Wukong last game. It really played a huge impact in the game, but at the same time, the Wukong like that can kind of fit into a lot of comps, and if you're specifically targeting a single comp, it might not be worth it banning out something like that. It might be worth it instead just adjusting your play or adjusting your own picks to better deal with it. And starting off, it's very much the same bans. Gragas and Morgana, both teams banned those last game. Rek'Sai actually is getting taken out. So instead, taking out two of the big power pick junglers is going to be Coach's Spaghetti, and we'll see if Purple Team can react, if Jones Life is able to work his magic on a different jungler there.
Yeah, let's see if they want to maybe leave like the Sejuani or the Wukong open, considering that they both might be priority picks for Team Coach's Spaghetti. Doey obviously being that Wukong main. Sejuani also very powerful in the current meta. Advantage of blue side being obviously that you get to pick the very first champion, but of course that opens up a lot of doors to counters and the likes.
Yeah, and again, it depends what kind of champions you're prioritizing. It sounds like from these bans where the Gragas, Rek'Sai, and Sejuani are all being banned, very, very strong junglers, and also extremely strong CC and potential team fight control, that you want to kind of go again, maybe this sort of Juggernaut pick. There's the Wukong ban. So yes, they're going to make Doey play something else. They're going to make him struggle on another jungler. This is especially poignant because you actually have Coach Spaghetti banning out 3 very, very strong junglers. And so now the list of good junglers these days is getting very, very small with those bans. So you're left to stuff like Evelynn and potentially like A- tier junglers to see if these players want to go with those. It will be a Nautilus first pickup that we saw. Nautilus was banned last game by, I believe, Coach Spaghetti, and now since they're the blue team, they realize, hey, it got through this time, let's pick that up, and so they're going to potentially be bringing out a different comp here. Nautilus less of kind of the passive, sustain, peel as Janna would be, and more of the in-your-face, let's fight CC bot that we've known him to become.
In your face, let's fight coming out in the Aurelia as well. But you did mention the Evelynn come out, and that was just immediately locked by Jones. Like Evelynn really, really enjoyed by teams who really, I'm saying really a whole bunch. Evelynn very prioritized by teams who want to take advantage of the early game and the fact that you're not going to have a lot of pinks down. Evelynn can just walk right by site wards, but that's something that you really have to take advantage of early on.
Yeah, and we saw that Doey is very comfortable invading on early on. He was cool 1v1ing against Jones Life there for the blue buff in that first game, and so you should look to have him pick up something strong in the early game as well. Hecarim going to be a good pickup just because you can kind of spam that scythe over and over again, as well as the sustain from your W that I can't think of the name of right now. But it's going to be very potentially powerful. Another thing that's really, really important that not many people recognize when you're playing against Eve, it's really hard to ward against Eve. You have to either buy pink wards or spot her out otherwise. And I think the best way of doing that is you actually don't have to buy pink wards. What's really critical though is you want to ward Evelynn's like Wraith camp and Wolf camp, because those are going to be the 2 most common camps she's going to be doing in the jungle, and then you can kind of get a sense of where she is, and if she's doing those camps, she's not going to be invisible, so normal sight wards will work on her. So I'd like to see Doey kind of prioritize getting some early wards maybe on those 2 camps, see where Jones Life is going to be in the early game, and sort of predict those ganks and show up to counter gank.
Macro with the Vayne lock-in without much of a front line either. Last game we saw the Vayne locked in. We had the 2 support champions in Janna and Lulu there to support that as well. But in this case, for Urg0ds team, Team Urg0ds, that's not really the same kind of team comp.
Yeah, that's definitely a bit of a change up here. With the Vayne lock-in, it kind of changes the whole dynamic. You no longer have the initiation potential of Ashe, but Vayne a little bit more mobile. But the problem is you're going to need to pick up a lot of peel. You're going to have Hecarim and Nautilus. They knew about this when picking the Vayne. You're going to have multiple people diving on you, and so Vayne really needs peel to be able to sustain in these fights. I like the Ahri pickup. It allows a lot of dive into the backlines of Coach's Spaghetti that the Victor wasn't really allowing in your previous game, as well as the Aurelia. She's going to become a force late game, just like that Maokai. Maokai not bringing enough damage last game, whereas if Contextual Idiot gets left alone in the same way this time around, he can definitely put in a lot more damage because he's on that Aurelia. The big thing here is there is a Katarina pickup, and that's something that every team needs to prepare for and always be mindful of. So you have the next thing to do as soon as that point comes is to look, where are your stuns, where is your lockdown? Alistar is going to be a great pickup for that just because he has that instant press Q and there, Katarina's stun. At the same time, you have an Ahri charm and an Aurelia stun as well as a Vayne knockback. They're going to be useful but not always super consistent. So Alistar might actually have to save his knock-up here for the Katarina because that is a huge threat. At the same time, blue team has picked a threat-rich comp as opposed to going super tank like you saw Urg0ds team go last game. Coach's Spaghetti is actually going to be picking up a lot of threats here. So the Rumble, Hecarim, Katarina, and Lucian are all high damage threats, and it's all going to be something that purple team is going to need to deal with. Yeah,
holy snowball champions. These are all champions that we typically see in the Summoner School discussions. Like, what are champions in lane that if they get stopped, if they really start rolling, who's really hard to stop? Lucian being a lane bully who can definitely get out of control early. Katarina, probably the most notorious solo queue snowballer, in addition to Hecarim and Rumble not necessarily having that many bad lane matchups. Even Nautilus, if he gets a lot of gold early, just having him on the back line of the enemy team, just spamming Riptides constantly and locking people down one after another, just staying alive for as long as he can to deal out all that damage over time, going to be super, super annoying as well. But guys, like we said, this is a best-of-3 series. Game 1 has been decided already. Team Coaches Spaghetti taking a rather dominating win over Team Urg0ds in Game 1. But we still have comebacks possible. Both teams had a little bit of time to discuss with their coaches what exactly they need to do better, what exactly they want to do differently. So I anticipate a different style of play. We saw that reflected in the pick spans. So I'm excited to get into Game 2. We are getting into our 2-minute delay here to make sure, you know, nobody's ghosting each other. So we're going to kick it to some quick music. We should be back in about 2 minutes, guys. Thank you so much.
Wanna join me? Come and play, but I might shoot you in your face. Bombs and bullets will do the trick. What we need here is a little bit of panic. Do you ever want to catch me? Right now I'm feeling ignored. So can you try a little harder? I'm really getting bored.
Welcome back, guys, to Game 2 of the European Finals Best of 3 series. Took a little while to get here, but we are here. We are excited to see if Urg0ds can come back. We're introducing our teams once again. This time on the red side, we have, on the blue side, we have Team Coach Spaghetti, Illegal Shot, taking that Rumble. Doey taking the Hecarim into the jungle. Masterist on that Katarina in the mid lane. And we have Lucian and Nautilus in the bot lane. Nautilus played by cover is awesome.
And then Team Urg0ds is an inside job, otherwise known as Team Urg0ds, is going to be Aurelia as contextual idiot. Jones Life going to be taking the role of Evelyn, bacon screen on your Ahri, and the bot lane is going to be one-shot macro on that sweet Arclight Vayne, and Skydark once again on the Alistar.
Something I thought was really cool was being able to see the champion masteries in the pre-game loading. We saw that one-shot macro having level 5 mastery on Vayne. We saw Katarina being a level 4 master, Illegal Shot being a level 5 master on that Rumble, and I believe there was somebody else, it might have been the Aurelia or the Evelyn, also having a level 5 mastery. So definitely a lot of comfort picks coming out into Game 2.
Yeah, I feel like Team Urg0ds, their first game, tried to actually go with a very strong composition in this kind of team fight-oriented comp. They got sort of outplayed, and instead are just kind of going with picks that they're familiar with, picks that they know that they will individually do well with. They might not work the best together. They might have some trouble against this Coach's Spaghetti team, but I think if they're more comfortable with the champions, they have a higher success rate at doing this. The only other thing that I want to point out here that we failed to mention before is it's going to actually be a double TP strategy coming out from Coach's Spaghetti. We'll see if they use that to split push it all. Obviously, you want that TP for Hecarim to get that home guard engage. Always, always good. But we'll see what he ends up doing with that as well as the Rumble.
That'd be absolutely terrifying, seeing two TPs come in at the same time and Onslaught of Shadows into an Equalizer. Just pretty much cooks and one-shots everybody involved in that mess. But excited to see if any of these champions, very, very dangerous when they get snowballing, if they're able to get that early lead and just translate it. Katarina and Ahri, both very, very scary. Level 6 when they can start roaming, getting to other lanes. Champion farming in both bot and top. I'm excited to see.
Yeah, this should be an early win for Katarina. She basically has Bouncing Blade spam onto Ahri that'll blow through a lot of Ahri's regen, and it should be her objective here is to get any sort of early lead that she can, and then at level 6 basically avoid the Ahri at all costs. Ahri does outdamage Cat in this case just because she does have the mobility. Other things I think are worth pointing out is that we saw, well, first of all, really early TP here as we saw Contextual Idiot went after that early camp and is going to be TPing back to lane as your level 2. Doey once again with the early invade.
Yeah, early invade into Jones, but it looks like Jones taking a little bit of better out of this skirmish. 8 spies coming out one after another, so that is going to be a disengage after that. No blood just yet.
Yeah, that was a really smart play by Doey, just to not die. He could have died to that Ahri with a flash charm or something like that, but instead he wards over the wall, smites the red buff, understands that that smite's going to give him back a lot of his HP, and it put him out of kill range, as well as the roam up from the Katarina prevented him from giving up that first blood.
Always catches some people out of surprise when they're walking through the jungle. All of a sudden, they smite the Grom, they get that little Thorn mailed on us, they smite the red buff, they get a whole bunch of health back. Really, really good map awareness. Actually,
yeah, and
a lot of poke.
Yeah, he's taking a lot here. Another thing that's kind of an unintended consequence is Doey did get a ward down at that red buff, so he's going to see when Jones Life is doing it. They're pinging it out right now. They also see the pink ward as the pink ward is out of the brush, so they know there's a pink ward there, and he will be looking to clean that up later. Only other thing worth mentioning at this point, I think, is that as opposed to the bot lane where we had a lot of aggression early on last game in coming out from one-shot macro and Skydark, they're not going to be able to do it this game. Coach's Spaghetti, their bot lane, not opting for the early level 1 camp, instead opting to just go straight into lane, meaning that they don't have quite the experience advantage, but they have a much better lane fighting team, and so they're comfortable going into the lane without having to necessitate an experience advantage.
And Nautilus is absolutely terrifying at level 3 when he can pull you in, he can stun you, he can root you, he can slow you. Pretty much if you get this Nautilus on your face early on, you're not going to get him off, and Lucian's just going to burst you down.
I'm surprised how well Ahri's being able to survive in this lane. She's actually starting to use her Q to farm, which is not always what you want. Q is not the best at clearing minions at early levels, as well as it's chugging through a lot of your mana. But any way that she can actually continue to stay relevant, and basically as an Ahri, you're never going to out-sustain the Katarina. Katarina just has too much poke, too much repeatable poke, and being a resourceless champion, it's very, very scary. But it looks like, once again, Doey going for the early invades.
Hey, Doe going for the invade, but it looks like Jones like just gonna loop around looking for some blood. This is the top lane. Contextual Idiot knowing exactly why he showed up with a whole lot of pots. Getting dove under tower. 3-6 as a Rumble. No equalizer available, but illegal shot. Gonna make it out of there. That was dirty. So dirty. Should have been illegal.
Yeah, Illegal Shot's been doing a really nice job this game of keeping his scrap shield, or sorry, his danger zone at a very high level, and so all his spells have been doing a lot more damage than they should have. Kind of abusing the fact that Aurelia is a melee champion and doing a really good job pressing her under tower and able to pick up that kill very cleanly.
Their cover is awesome, and Skydark giving each other hive sides. Skydark getting the worst of that in that exchange. That root is so unexpected, and it just catches you off guard constantly. And the fact that once you get rooted, a few seconds later you can be rooted again, that anchor hurts.
Yeah, definitely. But that being said, if this lane goes even, there's no kills either way. It is an advantage for the Vayne just because she scales a little bit better than the Lucian. And also her not falling behind allows Nautilus and Lucian to be a little bit less scary coming into the mid game. So that's fine, and Alistar can kind of stay on defensive duty in this part at this particular point in the lane. You saw Evelyn come in for a gank there, but Jones Life not able to really do anything. Nautilus was just able to kind of throw that anchor out, dredge line away, not really ever have to worry. And that's going to be most of the case for this lane. It's going to be hard for Eve to get a proper flank around here. Either there's going to be pink ward spotting them out, or it's just going to be too much tankiness. Alistar doesn't put out the damage that Nautilus does at this point, and so Eve is going to have a lot of damage combining with that Vayne if they hope to kill this Lucian or this Nautilus.
All-Star are definitely one of those champions that are really, really good at having one of those, hey, stop that. Don't touch me. Don't touch my friend. Don't mess with me. Go away. He really has one of those types of kids, as opposed to Nautilus. It's like, hey, let's hug. Let's be friends forever. I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, a lot of the times you're missing out a lot, though, if you do use Alistar in that fashion. He can be very good for peel, but he shouldn't be exclusively picked as a peel-based support, just because you're going to be losing out a lot of what he's able to do with that Unbreakable Will. He's just able to tank so much in the backlines, and so diving in on an Alistar is really where you want to pick him, although he's not actually that bad if you put him in the backlines.
Diving in, oh man, you got Fortune Teller, dude. Gets condemned against the wall, but it looks like there is a TP coming in on Spaghetti's side to try and provide some assistance. That's Doey, double TP, really showing exactly why it's scary. One-shot macro, can't really get into range to do anything. Jones Life barely making it out of there alive. That is 2 TPs burned, but they were able to get out of there alive. Oh god, oh, they're still going in. Doey gets condemned up against the wall. He might have invested a little too much in this. They might trade 1 for 1, but no. Doey manages to make it away through the tri-bush. Holy crap, that was a good estimation of damage.
Yeah, really good job. Really smart awareness and good communication there coming out from Coach Spaghetti, recognizing that they needed help, that they were outnumbered, and Doey having TP allows him to farm up to the point where Evelyn shows herself. It makes Hecarim's counter ganks very, very strong, just especially if you're coming from base, especially if you have some kind of a home guard buff. And yeah, able to pick up the Evelyn pretty cleanly there.
Good illegal shot, just dancing under tower. Contextual Idiot might get taken down once again. That equalizer completely zoning him right into the flame spitter. Oh man, Rumble starting to barbecue with this Aurelia.
Yeah, they should know that Rumble is going to dominate any melee that you really put him against, especially when you have like a statistically better individual player, and so by having them 1v1, you do need to realize this. I would have liked to see Evelyn maybe focus the top lane here, but instead they've decided to put more pressure on that bot lane, let one-shot macro try to get going early in this game. It hasn't quite worked thus far, but they're going to have to deal with a very strong Rumble in the hands of a legal shot come mid-game.
I think it's interesting that these two players also opted to switch roles in between games. Definitely interesting to see. I know we were a little confused game 1 considering that illegal shot opted to go mid instead. That might have just been in response to the champion picks and the like, saying maybe, hey, I'm really good at Zereth, I can really take it into this mid lane, let's just do that.
Yeah, I feel like that makes sense. Another thing I think worth pointing out is you have a 30+ CS advantage here in the mid lane. Masterist on Katarina is just able to harass the Ahri very, very strongly out of lane. Ahri not able to put up any sort of defense to that. And it just comes from spamming Bouncing Blades. That spell is very good, and if you're Ahri, you either have to stand far away from creep so you don't get hit by it, or you have to counter with some damage of yourself, because that's Cat going back for the first time this game, and that's Cat with a 700 gold lead, picking up a needlessly large rod and Sork shoes on your first back. Not a very bad first 10 minutes if you're a Masterist.
Makes that level 6 even scarier. We talked about how Ari definitely the one who, with that extra mobility, scarier pre-6. But when you have that much damage on the Katarina, you get a couple of good pokes off, then you just Shumpo in, just absolutely delete the Fox. They can scream really, really scary.
So I'm surprised that how well Doey's actually survived in this game. Look at his farm compared to Evelyn's. That's because he's able to take TP, and so that first gank that Evelyn shows herself in that he needs to respond to, he can actually just waste a summoner spell for it, and he was able to pick up that kill. But yeah, dominating Jones' life in farm, looking for constant invades, already having his Cinderhulk finish. Doey is once again a force to be reckoned with in these games.
Force to be reckoned with as well. Bacon Screen gets lit on fire. That was a beautiful ward hop. Master is showing exactly why he has that level 4 mastery. Team Spaghetti off to a very, very strong early game yet again.
Yeah, and as opposed to last game where they did have a lot of like team fight early and they try to play with each other a lot early, here they're just allowing their individual skill levels to kind of give them this quick advantage. They take advantage of the Cat Ari matchup, they take advantage of the Rumble matchup, and yeah, it's really, they built themselves very strong lanes, and it's going to be really up to one-shot macro on your Vayne to try to come back in this game, because other than that, once again, you're going to have Bacon Screen falling behind, and he's not going to be able to keep up with this Katarina. Cat's at a point where she can start to roam, and that can be very scary, especially when Coach's Spaghetti starts to look for objectives.
Taking a look at the CS and gold difference, Katarina already about 1,200 gold ahead at the 11-minute mark, but it does look like Spaghetti opting to add a little bit more power to their stats. First dragon of the game taken by them, and I don't think anybody from Team Urg0ds were really aware of that.
Well, they weren't aware of it, and they also couldn't really do anything about it. It's going to be a dredge line, though, in the bot lane.
Yeah, the calling the land completely onto macro. Oh, that was a beautiful max range dredge line, but I don't think anything more is going to come of that. They get under tower relatively safely. That was a lot of people showing bot lane for that.
I mean, you also burn a Vayne Flash. That's going to be up in about 4 or 5, or it's going to be up in about 5 minutes, whereas this depth charge from Nautilus up in a minute and a half. So you can afford to blow something like that if you blow the Vayne's Flash. And also having them push up now leaves Hecarim with the potential to come back in for a teleport gank. His TP's up in 10 seconds. He might just get his he might just get his home guard boots here. There's no deep ward, which is what you want to look for if you are Coach's Spaghetti in the bot lane there. But they feel good enough to kind of walk it out. This Lucian and this Nautilus are very scary.
Yeah, home guard Moby's picked up by Doey. Doesn't look like there are really any wards that he can necessarily take him from the flank. Still a lane gain coming from a Hecarim. He can't really stop that onslaught of shadows. Here, look at Master just completely diving on the tower. Deathload is, they're both gonna light each other on fire, but this should be a 1-for-1 for the mid laners. Katarina still getting a little bit more ahead though.
Yeah, that's really good for the Katarina because she gets to continue her snowball. There might be a fight here in the bot, so I'll try to get what I want to say out of the way first, unless they just go for it.
They go for it, but it looks like the TP coming in. This is going to be really, really tough. My Little Pony goes, hey, 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 gonna clean. Oh my gosh, look at the burst coming out. Equalizer completely roasting the rest. That is Team Spaghetti. Oh, whoa, that was real scary.
Yeah, so that's Hecarim, that's Doey sitting in base for a long time. He knew that gank was coming. He knew that Evelyn was going to come in, look for some sort of gank, and they turn it around, pick up 3 kills, and what a great job. They're really getting this Lucian going. He doesn't have any kills up to this point, but he's got 4 assists. Doey also with 3 kills. But once again, like I was saying, if you're a Katarina in that mid lane position, you're okay with a trade like that. You lose out a bit because Ari's going to be getting more experience than you, but anything that can allow you to finish your Luden's Echo faster is so much more worth it. Luden's Echo rush on Katarina is the #1 way to snowball at this point. Essentially, Cat is really, really strong because her base damages when she gets ahead can be very high, and when you add a flat, like, magic addition, like extra magic damage to that, it just makes her even that much stronger and even more able to take advantage of her ability to do that much damage in the lanes.
Yeah, it might have gone a little deep here. Doey trying to come in for the assist. Jones like, oh my gosh, that one cleave from Hecarim doing a lot of damage. Woo! Hits him with the Q on the way out, but it looks like Evelyn gonna trade 1-for-1. Bacon Screen still alive though. I see him one-shot macro trying to come in from the side, but I don't think this Vampire Hunter wants to go 1v1 against the Cat.
Hey, anything that the Ari can do to get back in this game is 100% worth it. Katarina is obviously the bigger kill here than Hecarim, but you do get a killing spree with picking up the Hecarim, and so you're never going to complain. Trading Jones' life as life for it is not ideal, but once again, you'll take any kill you can get at this point. It's 9-2 in this game.
9-2. Contextual idiot. Shout under is tier 2. That fire from Rumble so hard to deal with if you're a melee adversary. But Jones Life gonna get spotted. Finally has a hate spike somehow. But oh man, you don't want to go rumbling in the jungle. That equalizer doing absolutely a ton of damage. That double kill with the empowered auto attacks after he overheats. Oh man, you're just kind of holding your head there, shaking your head if you're Evelyn or Aurelia there.
Yeah, the fights are continuing here into the bot lane. See, oh my goodness.
I don't even know what to say there. Doey's all the way stuck back there. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to make it out alive, but it looks like they're going to go in deep. Cover is awesome, saying, hey, my anchor is even more awesome. Doey actually managing to make it out alive. Takes a little more tower damage, but it looks like they are going to pick up bot tier 2. They can just go in deep. They don't even care at this point.
Well, like we were saying, when you have a Katarina at level 11, her ult's going to be doing a crap ton of damage. They've been able to snowball this game to the point where they take advantage of their champions being scary when they snowball. You have Hecarim, who's putting out a crap ton of damage, even though he hasn't built anything like relatively damage intensive. He built his Cinderhulk. And you have Katarina with the Luden's Echo finish, just makes her a huge damage threat. And then meanwhile in the top lane, you had a level 7 Evelyn with a warrior enchantment on her skirmisher saber go after the level 11 Rumble with a level 9 Aurelia. It's just, the math is never going to work in your favor if you're on Team Urg0ds at this point. Rumble in no way should have lost that fight. Just basically, his level advantage just gives him so much more damage, and Evelyn's not tanky enough to be able to deal with it.
It's also looking at where they chose to fight, too. I mean, Rumble's very good at those jungle skirmishes in those choke points, and they pretty much fought at the exact... Oh my gosh, hey, you want a champ that has a delete button? Just get fed on Katarina. You can do stuff like that. This kill brought to you by Snowball.
Yeah, there's not much that Urg0ds can do to get back in this game, unfortunately. They're kind of at a point, well, once again, we have a 10k gold advantage. If we compare this to last game, that 10k gold advantage didn't really emerge until maybe about 25 minutes, at least, in that game. Whereas now we're at 17 minutes, and we're at that point. And it's not like any one person is fed. The entire team across the board for Coach's Spaghetti is fed. You have a Katarina 5-1, 4-0 Rumble, 4-1-1 Hecarim. Like, you're doing so much, and all you have to do is keep 1v1ing. You don't even have to group at this point. Grouping is where you could lose fights, but your 1v1 potential is so high, your damage is so high, your experience is so high, that you have no reason to group in this game.
They are going to get together for a family meal. Dragon on the menu. Team Urg0ds absolutely nothing like you, so that they can really do the fight this week. 1v1, 5v5, 3v3. A little too far behind at this point.
So, I mean, I think they're a little bit too far behind to come back. But if they were to look for some sort of comeback, they need to do a few things. One, you kind of need to go tank on Evelyn. At this point, you're far enough behind that you can't rely on being a damage threat for your team. You need to be kind of that second or third tank on your team. Vayne, you have to protect at all costs. Vayne is pretty much your lifeblood at this point, and you would need to get her rolling. At the same time, you need Aurelia to finish that Trinity Force. You need her to stay in the top lane, not be forced to TP, avoid fights at all costs, and just get as much farm as you can.
Well, looks like cover is awesome. Just going to completely take the front line. Skydart might get caught out here. That should be a stake on the menu. Oh, wow. That's a whole lot of damage coming down very fast. Give it to Katarina, why don't you? 6 kills already.
Yeah, and like I said, any good team, and I believe that Coach's Spaghetti is playing like a very good team at this point, they're not going to let you get that space to farm. They're going to always press the advantage. They're going to go for the objectives, and they're going to blow you the hell up.
Joey's going to go down to the tower here. A little bit gold going to Evelyn. So it looks like they might just... They're doing a decent job at wave clearing, though. Bot inhib tower might stay up for just a little bit longer, but I anticipate not a whole lot that they can do. Even though you do have the advantage of your tower, you're just going to get absolutely one shot by that Katarina.
Yeah, you look, there's just no pressure on anyone. Once again, as opposed to where you had like a Juggernaut comp with a lot of support last game, this game you just have so much damage that, once again, no one on your team is really scared of dying. Obviously, Katarina, before she finishes her Zonia's going to get focused down. You saw the Hecarim just fall there, but, you know, between Rumble and Nautilus, you're just never really afraid. They're too tanky and they do too much damage.
Going in deep. Oh, Katarina gets taken out of the fight. That might spell something good, so they finally get a little bit of gold, but this Rumble just jumping in there. getting absolutely fed off of all of these kills. That's Lucian picking up one as well. Munshot Macro probably going to go down here. That is 4 going down. Aurelia, the next one on the menu. Clean ace. Minions in the base. This is going to be bad.
Yeah, this should be the game and the series here. Maybe not on this exact push just because the respawn times are so quick. It's only 20 minutes in this game. But that's about as good of a fight as Team Urg0ds is ever going to get. They didn't really have the Alistar there. You saw he kind of got picked off there in the bot lane. But you're never going to be able to kind of get the fights that you want just because they're going to be denied to you. So if you're going to get a fight, it's going to have to look like that. You killed the Katarina super early. Vayne and Aurelia are allowed to live towards the end. And you saw how they could have potentially won that fight with Vayne picking up kills on those 2 champions. I'm sorry, she only picked up one of those kills, but, you know, that's what you want to look for, but at this point, they're just too far behind, and there's too much damage, and they're not going to be able to do that, and they're not going to be able to replicate those sorts of fights from now on.
Yeah, especially since the entirety of Team Spaghetti was really, really low coming off of that inhibitor tower fight. A lot of stuff being burned there as well. Next time when they show up, I anticipate might be a Baron buff coming out soon. We do see pings going down Spaghetti side. Looks like Nautilus and Hecker are going to make their way over there. What Master is doesn't know that he's sitting on a ward, trying to look for a delete button here, but he might just turn it around in a 2v1, but it looks like he's going to back off. Ward up Baron.
Yeah, they're going to need to bring more numbers if they want to deal with this Katarina. A, the support's going to come too quickly from Coach's Spaghetti, and B, she has a Zonia, so she can afford to waste time, and the people that they were going to send against her were Ari and Aurelia, and they were just going to melt. You need Alistar there if you want to fight.
But they're not turning the fight towards Team Urg0ds. They're going to turn the fight to the scary Barney Dragon over here. Baron's going down relatively fast for being only 21 minutes into the game. I guess that's pretty much what happens. Rumble isn't even here yet. Once he activates that flame splitter, should be going down even quicker. Joey going a little low, but I anticipate this should be a very, very clean there. There's the smite. This is looking like endgame.
Yep. And Barney and friends going to be giving his buff over to his friends, Coach's Spaghetti, and they should be, you know, it's kind of set out for them what they need to do at this point. There's 2 towers left. You have an inhib down in the bot lane. Push top makes the most sense, and yeah, it's kind of a clinic they're putting on for this second game here.
And while we did mention the relative ranking disparity between the two teams, Joke's like going to come in. I don't think he's going to be able to really do anything. CC from Nautilus is too much. Bacon Screen probably going to get deleted as well. But even in a game where you're getting relative, quote-unquote, stomped like this, you can still take away a lot from this experience, especially since this program is geared towards learning and moving. You're not going to get better if you're just winning everything. The way we learn is by making mistakes, is by getting negative feedback, is by getting into these situations where things don't always go right. Because if everything went well for us all the time, where would be the motivation to improve? So hopefully, and I do believe that Azog is very, very good in turning these kinds of situations into learning moments for his team. And we see a lot of lobbies going, custom games going, like Silvers versus Platinums. That's the thing that's been happening for a long time as well, where sometimes the best way to learn how to stomp is to get stomped once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't take this. Yeah, obviously you were going to lose. You were predicted to lose. You kind of had a sort of expectation that this was going to happen. But at the same time, you can definitely learn from it. You can pick up some tips. And first of all, they didn't lose as bad as I thought they were going to. They showed actually pretty good resiliency there in the early game. They were setting up ganks the right way. They had good level 1, level 2 strategies. But I think just the individual skills of Coach's Spaghetti kind of outweighed them there. Combined with picking a snowball comp, made it just look that much worse. But at the same time, well played by Urg0ds. They really put up a very good fight here. They should be proud of what they've done, and I hope that all of them continue in this program when the next series comes.
And that's something a lot of teams have talked about that they're planning on doing, that they are looking forward to doing, considering that this first program is only 4 weeks long. The entire full-length program that's going to be running during the summer is going to run for an entire 8 weeks. So a lot of these teams that were a part of the first session really, really eager to get back into it, especially considering that we are aiming to have a Riot-prized tournament at the end of it, considering that they're going to have essentially 2 months to practice and prepare. So I'm really excited to see these teams come back. A lot of these players have made friendships that they're going to continue on. I hear a lot of stories about, oh yeah, these players, like even when we're not team practicing, they're always dueling. They're playing like ARAMs or like fives together. It's awesome to hear. It looks like the final push, though.
Yeah, it should be. The Katarina actually might go down here, but yeah, it's kind of just it's pretty much over at this point. But yeah, these players definitely should be looking to see, like, okay, this is what I was able to do with just a 4-week session, and they should be thinking, okay, if I had twice the amount of time, what would I do differently? How could I have prepared myself better for these games? How could I have done a lot better? And I think they had, I hope that they had a very positive experience. From what I understand, everything's been super positive so far. Everyone's been really supportive, and hopefully it's fun to play on Twitch and have your friends watch you.
No, and we're really excited on the productions end as well to be able to bring these broadcasts to you. It's not just to watch all the teams fight and beat each other up. It's also to kind of present some of the information that they've been discussing as part of a team. We have our pregame discussions, we have our postgame analysis. We're going to have a postgame discussion with the coaches as well. So everybody who isn't currently a part of a Learning 5 team can really take this opportunity to kind of get a taste for it and maybe sign up for the next one, because I know for sure, for a fact, that we have a lot more interest in our second session. When our first stream went up, we peaked at about 400 concurrent viewers. A lot of people were asking, how do I sign up? How do I sign up? Especially the response from the coaches is what I found really, really surprising, like in a good way though. Hey guys.
Yeah, as my my client's looked out.
I think they have ended the game here. So we're just going to, given that we already did a whole bunch of post-game or kind of game breakdown during the last 5 minutes of that game, I'm just going to throw it directly to Jump, who's going to lead us in a bit of a coach discussion. So he's going to take it away when he is ready. As always, guys, it's been a pleasure casting for the broadcast. We do have our NA broadcast at 6:30 p.m. Pacific tonight. I believe that's the time. There is a post. We're going to be spamming that in the Twitch chat as well. But as always, it's been Piscator Josh and Doom Bogey doing your casting. We're going to catch you guys later. We're going to throw it to Jump right now.
Yo, what's up, what's up? Thank you guys so much for the cast, Doom Bogey and Piscator Josh, both of you guys doing a fantastic job right there. I'm going to just do a little quick post-game interview of Mr. Doey, the winner of our EU post-session files. Are you there, Doey?
Yeah, I'm here. Hello.
Awesome. So I'm just going to ask you a couple questions. First off, how does it feel? You know, this is the first session. This is the first post-session tournament that we've had for the summer and for the Learning 5 program as a whole. So what's it feel to walk away with the championship trophy for EU?
Well, I would say, oh, you know, it feels great and all that kind of rubbish. But what actually feels good is getting 4, 5 people, 6 people, I guess, actually. It's kind of 6, really, to have a common goal, actually work towards it really well, and actually to see how much the people I've been coaching have actually learnt. That's what's really good. It's winning so much doesn't matter. It's just the improvement. Seeing the improvement is what I really care about, and that's what I liked.
Yeah, I mean, that was the goal with this entire program, and, you know, you've been with the summer school community for a while, and so, you know, you understand the goals and, you know, really the vision of what we try to preach over at summer school, and just really creating a clean, safe, and, you know, learning environment for everyone. And, you know, this Learning 5 program has really done that for you. What do you feel has, and I kind of brought this up in the pregame as well, but, you know, just after these games and everything, what do you think, I mean, what are you taking away from most with this team specifically that you just finished coaching?
Mainly methods for coaching, actually. Thinking about how to get it done. Because I hadn't done anything like this before. So I wasn't entirely sure. So it was a new experience for me. And I got to see the things that worked, the things that didn't. And I just get to do, and now next time I can do something like this, I know what will work. And it make next time even more